Hey everyone, it is the Huskins Horror live stream. I am Bill Dean Acola, and we're joined, as always, somehow we get to land on the founder of Huskins Horror Studios, Cody Huskins. Cody, we've got a special guest tonight. How are you doing, bud?
Doing, bud? I'm doing good. Our special guest, I'll go ahead and introduce him. He's been a friend of mine now for probably about 4 years, and he is probably one of my best friends. We ended up finding each other on Facebook. He messaged me actually wanting to buy a mask of mine, a hockey mask, and he
Say
was
his name.
like, "Say his name." Adam Phillips. Yeah, there he is.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
What y'all having me?
What y'all having me?
I think where Cody
Cody.
was we ended up where me and Cody came from on this. We were working on a film project, and it's so funny the way this worked out. Is Cody had a mask for sale, and due to privacy issues and things like that, we were so early on the project that we really didn't know where everybody was located. And I went to message Cody about a mask because he's such good with his Jason mask, and couldn't have find out he lived 5 minutes down the road than me. And then we had already been involved with the project for some time. It was just so odd to see that so many people were all around the United States, and kind of find out that he and I were literally in this little small town. And the friendship that's came from it over the several years has just been great. So it's something really been proud of. It's something that just wouldn't happen normally. It's been a
And
great
I met you at Mad Monster, what, 2 years ago?
2 years
And that
ago.
was fun. That was we're running around. You were dressed like Freddy. Cody was dressed like Jason. And
Absolutely.
sometimes you were getting along, sometimes you weren't. But yeah, Cody, you guys have worked on a lot of projects together, and Adam's really one of those guys. He is a hustler. He will get the job done.
I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Absolutely, yeah.
Two-
Adam definitely and it was so surprising to me that how much of a passion he has for horror films. It just like it blew me away, and I was like, heck, I loved it because I'm like, there's somebody around here that lives close to me that loves exactly what I do. It's just rare. So with that being said, just you instantly hit it off with somebody. So
Absolutely.
ever since then, we've just been like inseparable. Just and I'm so thankful that he brought me onto the grind. You know,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
We've enjoyed being a part of it. That's for sure. We've had a great friendship. Gentlemen, I've still got a major feedback here. I'm having trouble understanding y'all a little bit. It's still getting a little bit there that I'm double talking here a little bit.
Well, you sound fine on our end and going over the air, so
Okay.
uh, it sounds good. If it's not too distracting, we can keep going.
Okay, sounds great. Like I said, I wanted to give Cody a compliment there a little bit. Like I said, I was having trouble understanding some of the last bit of it there, but like I said, we've had a great friendship, and like I said, I can't wait to see what the future brings. And it's really has been a good working and a personal friendship. That's for sure.
So, talk a little bit about Adam, how it came that you ended up casting Cody as Leatherface. What made you think of him? And I'm going to pop off and then get some video going.
Uh, to be honest with you, when we originally started, Josh Adams started doing some of the writing on the grind. He actually, we knew, of course, we knew Cody of that time and knew very much of him. He was involved with a previous project, and we always originally, when anything was ever talked about Leatherface, I mean, it was almost like, man, I wish Cody wasn't tied up right now because Cody would be such a great Leatherface. I mean, that was always in the back of our mind because, like I said, Cody was tied up on a previous project, and we knew there's a there's something that most people don't realize when it comes to a mute character. A mute character is one of the hardest characters to play because you don't realize the body movements, the things that get said, the things that doesn't get said. It's the body movements, it's the shoulder movements, it's the things like that 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 makes that really makes that character. And Cody has that skill. He's got that blessing of being able to say so much with not actually saying a word. He's so good with his Jason character, and where he looks and how he moves his shoulders, and that's something that you can't just teach. That comes naturally. He knows the character. He knows how to say something without saying anything at all. And that's why we really wanted to cast him as Leatherface. And then when things came and when the stars finally aligned and he was able to be opened up to be able to be available, we got in touch with him and was just so tickled to have him involved with the project. And like I said, when it came to be, we was like, well, it's all, absolutely. I mean, he was really one of our first picks for it because Cody has the skill to do it. We know he can do it the right way. So that's really how it all came to be.
And we're showing the trailer for the grind, but Cody donning the mask and the chainsaw, cranking everything up. What was it like after playing Jason a lot and a lot of different roles like that, getting ready to play a character like Leatherface?
I absolutely loved it. I loved the actually have a change. Besides Jason, is of course that's what everybody knows me as. And it felt so good, and it actually, it became so natural too. I made sure that I had the Gunnar Hansen moves and the sounds and the jerks and the lip, licking his lips and all. I made sure I did all that because I watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre over and over and over just to study him. But I also did a little bit of Leatherface with my own twist to it. So I kind of combined my own thing with the Gunnar Hansen. But it felt so good to actually play a character besides Jason, which I love playing Jason. Everybody knows that. But Leatherface, something was just really special. I loved cranking that chainsaw. It was a really cool experience.
And I have to say, if you don't mind me saying here a minute, I had never really saw Cody as Leatherface, but I knew what he could bring to a mute character. I knew that, I had saw his Jason so much and how he walks into a room and moves his shoulders and tilts his head. Cody does a great Michael Myers for y'all that have not saw it. I mean, he does very well with a mute character, and so when like I said, when it got brought up of, hey, is Cody available to do this? He'd been the first choice to begin with. So I, I've told him this personally. Me and him had some personal conversation before that I had never saw him do the grunts and the whines and the licking the lips that Gunner did, and some of those things that I think are really impressive. And most people wouldn't notice that. It takes a really skilled. It really takes a really professional to recognize those sort of things. And for Cody to realize that and pick those things up and bring that to our character is an amazing thing. So I hope fans realize that they can pick up the what Cody can bring to that character and what the future brings to this franchise.
Well, Adam, I appreciate that. I gave it my heart and soul to it, and like I said, I loved every minute of playing it, and especially with them long, grueling filming days that we had that you remember. I think the days where that one day, especially, what was it, 22 hours filming? Um,
Every bit
you
of
was
it.
in you was in the film. Actually, I'm not going to give away who you was, but you was in it, and we just had an awesome time, even with us being so exhausted and like mentally and physically. But we still, it was such a memorable shoot, and I loved every minute of it.
We did, Bill. We really did. It was a grueling time, but we had a great time. We really did. We had a great cast. I mean, we really did. I mean, Clarence Adams. He's a great director. He's a great DP, and Amy and Angel and everybody. They just and Brett. I mean, working with Brett is just unbelievable. I mean, he made us all laugh, and Frank and all of us. We just had a great time with all of us because it didn't feel like work, did it, Cody? I mean, it really we were tired, but we were laughing. We were able to kid and joke, and we really did. And like I said, Kelsey, Clarence's help, his assistant there. We all just had a great time. We really did. And Terrence, several people. Like I said, I can't go into great more detail before I give out characters. But like I said, there were some great people really involved there, and like I said, I don't get too ahead of myself, but I don't feel like I'm leaving anybody out. It's just the fact that we had a great time. We were just Cody. We did, didn't we, buddy? We joked and we kidded, and it just didn't. As tired as we were just a fun time because we all there was it just seemed there was a chemistry there because we were all just we all enjoyed the genre. We knew the films. We all had the same taste for the same material. We all wanted to bring the same light to the film, and we all just mashed together that it wasn't. You didn't have to coach anybody into anything. You didn't have to. There wasn't a whole lot of directing because we all just kind of fell into it. The everybody wanted to see that same life brought to the film, and to bring back that 74, that Gunnar Hansen, that film that we all know and love when it comes even to 2 and 3 and all those others. It was just we didn't have to really coach anything. It was no acting. It was a good synchro mesh there. It's like kind of like having lightning in a bottle, I guess you could say.
I wanted to cover that last scene from the trailer, but that's the teaser trailer that's come out so far. Uh, Clarence Adams, the director, who did a fantastic job with the project and really just was a superstar, is working on it, but he's also incredibly talented and in much demand. So we're just forging ahead, guys, on the grind production one, which is one of the cool things about making the movie. Cody, Adam, well, Cody first, then Adam. What was it like working with Brett Wagner?
Oh, he's such a cool guy, and it was an honor to work with him with all the everything that he's done film wise and television commercials. You name it, he's been on it. He's done a lot, not just with like horror films. He's also done like the Adam could probably help me out what shows that he's known him to, but he did some comedy. He did a comedy scene with Chuck Norris in a TV series called Yes Dear. So my dad, of course, everybody knows that he did a film with Chuck Norris. So both Brett and Dad worked with Chuck Norris, and when Brett and Dad got introduced to each other, that's who they talked about working. I thought that was really cool with them, sharing stories about working with Chuck Norris, and but it was so fun working with Brett, and he's such a good guy, and he'd do anything for you, and it was an awesome experience. It was great to meet him, and I hope to work with him in the future on some more projects.
And Adam, how did you like working with Brett? Because you
Oh,
you
I
got to
mean,
hang out with him a bunch.
Brett has become a real personal friend. He really is. He's a good guy. He helped me not, and this is what I love about Brett is the fact that he could have came in as an actor and had just been stuck up and just like been, if you have it together, if you don't, see you. He didn't do that. Him, even his wife Dee Dee. I mean, we become personal friends, and they helped when they shouldn't had to, and understood when we had downfalls, and just really helped me personally. Showed me some things where I'm not. Where I'm not very educated for, say, in the movie business. Brett was teaching me along the way, and that you don't get that with anybody, and I really appreciate him for that. He's helped Cody, and we've become very good friends. He's known for his Kemper Kill for the 2003 movie. I mean, several seasons of Pastime on Speed Channel. I think, and not just being biased, I think the best part of the Crazies, he played in uh, the zombie-like apocalypse movie, The Crazies. I loved it, and has become one of my favorites. And not to mention working with Jesse James, on West Coast Choppers and things like that. And he's really done a lot uh, and I don't think he gets a whole lot of credit for the camper kill. That was just such an awesome kill. I mean, the true fans see that. I mean, he had the first kill of the movie, the sledgehammer kill, and slammed that door for the first time. And like I said, he had the opportunity to be stuck up and come in and just do his stuff and leave, and he didn't. He became a friend, very very personal friend of mine that I talk to daily, and and like I said, we plan to work again in the future. We actually worked afterwards. We did some stuff afterwards. We went down and to the haunted pyramids. He autographed that. I actually run down that cover of Fangoria there. That's from the Crazies, and he autographed it for me, and I've got it hanging in my personal collection in my movie room. And that, like I said, he sold the Crazies. I mean that scene that he does in the end of the movie is just unbelievable. But yeah, like I said, he's a very good friend and very 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 professional actor, and like I said, can't wait to work with him maybe even more. Sons of Anarchy,
And
and all a lot of things he's been involved with.
and Brett has also been announced he's going to be scheduled to be appearing at the Carolina Fear Fest here in Raleigh, where I am, May 27th to 29th. We've put in our applications and we've got everything in ready to go, but it's going to be a fun time. We'll get to preview some stuff that we're working on, talk to everyone. We've got some cool photo opportunities, and just hang out, relax, talk horror movies. We'll have some masks, some lots of cool things. If you're a Friday the 13th fan or a horror fan, I think Dee Wallace also one of the other people announced to be there, and Terry Gilliam, that might be wrong, but the preacher from The Walking Dead, he was on the Oz and The Wire. Anyway, that guy, Terry Gilliam's going to be there. That might be the dude from Monty Python. I'm not 100% sure right now. But that's Carolina Fear Fest. We're going to be there. Adam's got an invite. He might be there. We'll see. To just, talk the grind, talk Freddy versus Jason Dreamscape, which is currently back up and running. And we're going to, be there to talk to the fans, show some things. We did two panels last year, but it's not exactly 100% true because we did the second panel because the first panel didn't work. But we plan to do some stuff where we got two panels under our belt now, so we're hoping to get back up there. That was a really cool experience last year at Carolina Fear Fest, and then Cody, we were talking about this little the other day, but you and Adam got to share. You were table to table the Hazard Fest with C.J. Graham, the Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives Jason, a very memorable one, a lot of people's favorite Friday the 13th movie, mine included. But what was that experience like, Cody?
Well, I tell you what, when we got the table for Hazard Fest, I was like, because it's not a horror con. It was just mostly just like the Southern pop culture type of stuff, like Dukes of Hazard and shows like that. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to. I knew CJ Graham was going to be there, and I got to hang. I get to see him and everything. But I was like, I just kind of had a bad feeling. I don't know what it was. Not saying I wouldn't have a good time. I was just like, yeah, the environment, and me and Adam went and we had a blast. We had the best time, and a lot of people was horror fans came to that, especially with Leatherface. Leatherface being Southern Texas, and so when I got in my Leatherface costume, I got swarmed. There was a line at my table. You can ask Adam. And then I'd take the mask off and sign autographs for the fans and stuff. And we was talking about the grind, and they was so just excited. You just seen the look on their faces. So we had a blast. We had an absolutely great time.
Absolutely, we sure did. I think that's where Cody's saying there. You think it's Hazard Fest, it's Dukes of Hazard. And it was definitely a you know Smoking the Bandit type atmosphere, that's for sure. But there was also a lot of, like Cody said, Southern hospitality that people loved Haro, and CJ was very well accepted, and so was Cody. And Alvin Casey was very nice to extend the invite to get us there and get us a nice table. And it was very, very well received. We had a great time. And like I said, CJ Graham is such a good guy. We laughed and kidded and poked around all both days, and it was a very, very good experience. Said if it had nothing to do with making a dime. It was just the fact of being able to get the film out there and meet some great people. And all we did there was trying to just raise a little money for our film and stuff to get a little kickback from for our Indiegogo and stuff like that. But Cody, we had a great time. It was definitely a fun experience. Met a lot of great people. Met a lot of fans that didn't realize. Absolutely, yep. That's a great. It's one of my favorite pictures. CJ's a super good guy. He really is, and we got to hang out with him quite some time. Made a lot of good people. I guess we actually got to let Cody uh, get introduce his dad to Catherine Bach. I think there a little bit. He got to tell Catherine about how his dad was always a fan and stuff. Daisy Duke, of course, and Daisy actually, I think she played a little bit of fancy to Cody a little bit. She come by and hugged on his neck just a little bit, and told him how good his costume looked and that sort of thing. So, but like I said, we met a lot of great people, and got the name of the grind out there, and more or less, like I said, it's not about getting the name out there. It's about getting out there and getting with the people and get with fans that share the same thing you do. And I was kind of like Cody too. You think, well, you're going to Hazard Fest, you think you're going to see all these people that are just Dukes of Hazard fans, but you're also in the South. You're still with people that have similar interests, and there was a lot of horror fans. It surprised me too. We met a lot of people. We were able to we met a lot of kids that were big into horror, and we were able to, Cody was taking pictures with a lot of young guys, that were horror fans and stuff like that. And we didn't charge for most of all that. Just being able to. Being able to introduce kids to the genre and stuff like that. It was a great atmosphere. Like I said, Alvin Casey, he hooked us up on that and got us a table, and we really appreciate that, and hope that we can return to that in the years to come. That's for sure.
He was such a good guy, and I consider him a friend now because me and him we talked for the longest time, like back, like when it would get slow and there wasn't people coming through, and got to know him. He got to know me, and so it was just such a good time. And actually, me and Adam became friends with an actor. His name is Alan Kaiser. He was in the Creep Show or not Creep Show, Night of the Creeps, and
Mama's
he
Family.
played Mama's Family. Yeah, and he played in Mama's Family too. He had a big role in that. That's a big sitcom comedy in the '80s, and he was such a nice guy. He was such a great guy.
Sure
And
did.
we actually, me and Adams hung out with some of the cast of Sons of Anarchy and Mines, and Michael Irby. He was a super guy, super nice guy. He was fun to hang out with.
Oh, you don't get him better.
Mike.
He's a super good guy.
Super good guy.
One of the best celebrities I've ever met. I mean, so down to earth. I mean, he's up there with Brett when it comes down to earth. I mean, he was just. I mean, he will still send a message to even my fiance every now and then, just saying hi, because my fiance helped out at his table. She actually went on while me and Cody were there. She went on to the local Harley shop, and she was helping Alvin and them do gather money and stuff like that with the signatures and stuff. And he'll still send her a message every now and then and say, "Hey, how are you doing? You doing, Adam? Doing great?" I mean, you don't get that from a celebrity a lot of times. It's just nice to be able to know that you met people like that remember what you did and establish those friendships. But that was definitely a good time. Like I said, I'd love to do that again here soon. That's for sure. Did you get that one of me and CJ? I want me and CJ there somewhere.
Hold on, let me go back. I got you. There you go.
I may not got it to you. There you go. Look at this T-shirt. Can you get it? Any way you can get a picture of that T-shirt? That one I've got on.
Enhance. Is that doing any better? That's the best I can do.
A little bit. It says "Me and Leatherface." It's an animated photo, like a little kid drew it. It's got Leatherface holding everything. And, Brett got me that, hooked me up with that, and it's like I said, it looks like a little kid's like 4-year-old drawing of a little kid and Leatherface holding the chainsaw. I wore it that day. That's one of my favorites.
That is cool. So, Adam, we just recapped the year. It's the third episode of the second season. But what was your pick? Do you think what was a good horror movie that recently stood out to you that you'd pass on and recommend?
Oh, goodness gracious! Just here,
putting you on the spot. Me and Cody talked about how much we loved the Terrifier. Terrifier 2.
That was a good one.
And
That was
then,
a really good one. I like that one a lot. I'm anxious to start going a little ahead. I'm gonna throw one on you, just a curveball. Cody and I plan to sit down here the next day or two and see Megan. We've got that on our list because he and I are gonna get together to watch. But here lately, I've been so busy here lately and been so much with my work and stuff. I've not watched a whole lot of modern stuff right now. But yeah, the Terrifier was it's always been a good franchise. I always like that one. That's not bad at all. Cody, what about you? You got something on your mind? What's one of your recent that you like?
I'd have to agree with you on Terrifier 2. I'd have to agree with you. But I was actually talking to Bill, and me and you've talked about it, Adams. I really like that Dahmer series.
It's a good series, a very good series. Sure was a very good series. He did, and like I said, I'm horrible with names. I love American Horror Story. What's his name that played Dahmer? He was a big
Evan Peters.
Yes. He played in several seasons of American Horror Story. And I read a lot in that. A lot of people were worried that he could play that part because I think a lot of girls think thinking he was the handsome side of it. If he would shine a more of a positive light on Dahmer and that sort of thing. But from what I've read and what I understand, I mean, Dahmer needed just that little bit because he did have that niche about him. That was the way, really, what he was. He was able to to be able to take somebody away from a bar like that and do what he did. He did it. I think Evan was a great actor for that. He did a great job with that. He did. I mean, and that's what people I think were worried about, thinking that he was going to glorify the character more than he should have. But I still think he did a real good job. I mean, I really enjoyed that series. That was a good. That really was. I really enjoyed that whole series.
Adam, would you say that Dahmer rocks?
Depends on. I mean, he's a
So
to
yeah,
to
more or less,
the
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, absolutely. When it comes to that, given the
This just in, Adam Phillips, Dahmer rocks.
no, I'm just saying, given the what am I trying to say? The victim's family credit, all that good
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was a he definitely. I've always enjoyed
Well,
watching that sort of thing, and Ted Bundy and that sort of thing. That's always been. I'll sit here and watch all day long, watch some of them, watching the serial killer documentaries. Ted,
well, I was having a
all that. Oh well,
I was having a thought before as I kept rewinding through the grind trailer show Cody, grabbing some girl's neck real fast and violently. I think that's the thing about horror movies. You have you can see stuff and it's like, oh man, that's cool. Oh, the science of it, all the stuff behind that, and you can kind of disconnect from the victims. But then when it is a real life story, you you don't want to glorify what was done. I think what the show tried to do is it tried to explain like just how it could happen,
right,
what were the circumstances that it could happen uninterrupted for so long, so many victims, and then just all the times he was on the verge of getting caught, or he came up with some lame excuse like if your mom, if your neighbor in an apartment said, hey man, that smell, what's up with that? Well, you ask a neighbor that, and they go, "Oh yeah, my family sent me a bunch of meat, and my fridge died. It went bad, but
right.
I threw it all away. It should be gone soon." Like, would that be something you just want to pass on? Would you make like a chuckle joke on? But you wouldn't actually. Would you look seriously immediately, or would that be an acceptable excuse? So all that, the way he kind of slid around, they
Right.
explained kind of how it happened. So it wasn't. I don't feel like it glorified him. It just explained him. There are always going to be people of a certain way that are going to write people on death row and tell them I love you and all that stuff. I don't know what that is that makes that work. You're always going to have those people. The Netflix show might draw attention to it a little bit because he's a good looking heartthrob type guy. Um, but no fault to him. He did a great performance. He won the Golden Globe, and I think he really killed it.
And that's like I said, that's gets you said exactly what to go about the answer that I gave there to your question. I'm right there with you 100%. I mean, I enjoyed the series. I love the thing, but I want, like I said, give the victim's family, their sympathy, but don't glorify something that what happened to them, but also to take it out of that. It was a great series. Like I said, you don't want to glorify something or take a serial kill in real life as much as we do, like our Freddys and our Jasons and stuff like that. But it does, like I said, what you're saying, it's very unique how he was able to slither through. That's a good way of putting it. He was able to dodge the boy out on the sidewalk, with a drill bit hole in his head and bleeding, and then was able to actually coach
Ugh.
back, able to coach him back inside the house, and that sort of thing. I mean, from a horror standpoint, I mean, you have to wonder, watching the show. But like I said, given sympathy we're due to when it comes to the victims and their families. But it makes you wonder. I swear
Well, and
that did
and
happen.
speaking of yeah, speaking of disturbing things, we like to get people ready for the week ahead and all the horror highlights you might miss. This guy's a pretty big celebrity, so I'm sure you'll catch this on the news. But coming up this upcoming week, January 30th, Christian Bale. It's his birthday, and talk about cringy in the horror community. Patrick Bateman,
He was good.
American Psycho. I mean, is there a doubt who's the best in playing that sort of character? Cody, what do you think about Christian Bale, American Psycho? Was he better in American Psycho as the Psycho, or better in Batman as Batman?
American Psycho. American Psycho.
It's
I'm
too
not
different.
a
It's too different. It's very hard
yeah.
to very hard to see.
I'm sorry, but I'm a Michael Keaton fan of Batman. I just think when Christian Bale did play Batman, he used that like this. I just didn't. I wasn't a fan of it. Did he do terrible? No, but I just wasn't.
Well, he was the
But
dark. He was the dark.
but American Psycho, no, he was definitely like just crazy, just insane.
The Dark Knight, the Dark Knight side of Batman, and that sort of thing. And I'm with Cody tenfold. I'm a Keaton fan. I always will be. That's our genre. That's the Batman we grew up with. But I did love Christian Bale, American Psycho, the way you did. But I've always heard. I think it's always, and this maybe just stick in the back of my head. I've always heard that he's incredibly hard to work with. So what I've heard, like when it comes to an actor standpoint, I've heard. So
Well,
it probably makes it easier
I
for
think
him
you're
to play.
mentioning. I think you're mentioning that audio clip of him going
Nuts.
crazy on set.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're going nuts. Well, so when you're an actor, and it's a set. There are things that are in place. You're doing things. I work in news, and one thing I won't do is like start walking at someone who's reading words off of a screen in front of them with a bunch of pieces of paper, like huddled up. I'll wait my spot. You have the sight line. You don't want to interrupt people like that because it can throw off your concentration.
True.
And with the story of that audio was after there were some people like talking to each other while they're acting a scene, and you have all an actor on set. It's not an easy job because you start an enormous amount of pressure on yourself because you have this person that's doing this job here to make sure this is done, and that person, and all these people are together, and all you know exactly what you need to do, but you have to execute it in a way that's good for the film, that's hitting all the marks, hitting all the cues, and you can really start to put a lot of pressure on yourself. So
Sure.
if you're trying to act and you can see people off in the distance, they're like talking and hand language, and you're like, oh, that's screenshot. But you see something like that, it throws you off. You're a serious actor, and then this is a major project with tons and tons of money, and you don't want to have a reputation that you're hard to work with. You take multiple takes or anything like that. You want to have a reputation that you work efficiently. You do your job. There's some things that happen when you're trying to get a shot that happen. You have to redo it, but it's not something that it shouldn't be in the habit of you redo a shot over and over again. Everyone has to be professional, and that pressure put on the actors to perform all the time, that can really build. So it's one of those. I'm pretty sure I've been mad in my life at points where if there was a recording of it one-sided and there was no kind of, if that was just dropped in there, they'd be like, that dude is a psycho. Stay away from that guy at all costs.
Right.
But I think that was his moment, and it just happened to have a recording on. Cody, how do you? I mean, I know you're a perfectionist when it comes to how you're playing things. You stay in character when you get the mask on and everything. But have you had an experience maybe where someone you're getting ready to do a scene and someone's just trying to take selfies and make jokes and shit while everyone's getting set? Have you had any sort of thing like that working?
I don't. No, not really. Usually, like maybe it's how I get in the character. I'm just so focused. Everything else just blocks out. You can ask Adam that about that with me. It's just like everything don't exist. Just tunnel vision, and so everything that's going on, I don't even bother me. But I've never had. I don't think I'd ever had that happen.
And Bill, I'm gonna say
And Bill, I'm
something.
gonna say something.
Since we're on the subject of this, I mean, even with the grind, we had everything going on with us, and even as a close knit bunch that we had, I lost my temper at one time on the scene. It happens. I mean, you when you have a lot of things going on and you've got so much things riding on what's going on, and everybody is so got your over here, you got over here, you got and I can see exactly what you said. What you said about Christian Bale is exactly right, because when you've got so tensions are flared, you've got to get this right. Times you got deadlines to meet, you got money to make, you got money, all this sort of thing. And Cody can tell you, I lost my temper one time really hard on the set of The Grind, and not one of my finest moments, but it was one time that I lost my temper, and I could see that, and it's something I'm not proud of. I got aggravated, but it's something that I think it gives you an example that not that it can happen. You can when you want everything perfect, and you've got months and months and months build up to this, that when tensions flare and things like that, I could see how Christian Bale in a situation like that could lose his temper and something like that to happen, because you want everything to go perfect. So, I was kind of Cody in that situation. It was just, you want everything to go right. You want everybody to be happy, and you want it just to go together. And when the puzzle pieces aren't fitting in that very moment, it's very easy to lose your temper. It really is, and I could see that.
Yeah, I think Cody. I think when he gets in character like he does, the little annoyances probably don't show up on his radar as much. The way he's got 1,000 mile stare going on, just staring off into space. He's just, I don't know what he does. Do you go into the sunken place? What happens when you do that shit?
I just I can't explain. It's like a switch, you know. When I'm in that character, it's just like I don't exist no more. Cody don't exist. It's that, you know. That's who exists, whether it's Michael or Jason or Leatherface, you know, that's what exists. That's me being just so just I love these movies. They're just a big part of me, and I become that character.
Cody, can I ask you a
Cody, can I ask you a
question?
question?
Yeah.
Is it
Is
able?
it
Are you able to be able to, like, when you what I just said, when you get frustration? I could imagine. I have never personally donned a mask like that and acted out some of the things that you do. I would imagine, from my point of view, it would be easier to, when you are frustrated about what's going on in the background, just because you're slinging a sledgehammer and a chainsaw. I feel like you could release a lot of that stress by embracing that character. I feel like that would help you in a lot of ways, because you are frustrated, or there is things going on in the background, actually personally, with with actually what's going on. I feel like you can embrace that character more and make it a little more lifelike. Do you ever run into that you can actually use your frustration as the character itself?
Oh, absolutely. It's like I've been in instances where I'm like in the outfit, and it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, and you're on set. It's like do another take, and I start getting so fucking pissed where I go into rage mode, and in my it makes the scene look good anyway, but just that constant repeating, I get more aggravated,
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I just there's a Kane Hodder was talking about in Friday the 13th Part 7 when he did the sleeping bag kill, and his glove his hands kept slipping off the bag, and he just got so mad he just did that one take, wham, and but he was pissed because he was getting his hands was slipping off of it. And I've had similar instances with that. I have.
Well, I remember.
I remember.
You remember me being I'm a big Freddie fan, and I remember some of the interviews that Robert England mentioned when what did it take you to get into character as Freddy Krueger? And he mentioned that here I sat in the makeup room beside this unknown pretty Johnny Depp guy and Heather Langenkamp and these beautiful people, and they're just getting this makeup and dotted up. And he said, here I felt like at that time, he said, I felt like I was a 38-year-old washed up actor that this might be the only movie I ever do. And he said that he took that rage that you took these two beautiful people here beside of us that might be at the first of their career, and I may be the washed up old actor that will never have anything of it. And he took that out of the dressing room and he's like, I'm gonna have fun slashing up these kids. And he took that rage and made it, he said all that he said here they weren't even getting he was having hours and hours and hours of makeup, and he was sitting there having that makeup put on, and then they weren't having anything done, but they were so called the stars of the film. They were just getting makeup, the simple stuff just applied, and how pretty they were. And he was hours and hours and hours of prosthetics. And he said, I just took that and I just, pissed off sort of deal. And he's like, I'm gonna make this a reason to kill these characters for saying. He said that was a lot of the reason and that was a lot of where Freddy was born, the aggression of that. And I could, like I said, that goes back to what Bill was talking about. Where do you, what do you do with that rage? That even goes on in between just doing your normal filming. It makes sense, that's for sure.
And probably one of the slowest, worst recaps to recap. We're joined today by Adam Phillips, producer on The Grind, Texas Chainsaw fan film. I think we're just so immersed in just chilling, chatting. It feels like we're just hanging out on the well, I guess you guys are both hanging out on the sofas. Okay, so we are hanging out on the sofas. The last thing on our list today of upcoming things to recognize, The Shining. You guys big Shining fans?
Ooh, I like The
Shining.
Yeah.
The book, not the movie, but the book was released January 28th, so in a couple of days, 1977. So by my math, it's 34 years old.
I've never read the book. I've started reading the book, but I've never completed it. I've always wanted to read it because I've loved what's the second movie? Doctor Sleep. I've always wanted to read it all the way through because I like the movie per se. That's two that I'd love to sit down and read both of them. It's classics.
Have you tried to read Doctor Sleep while you're in bed?
I have not. I've tried to read the.
That's a tough one.
Really, I've tried to read The Shining, and I've read a lot of it, but I have not. And as many times as I've watched Doctor Sleep, I have never actually sat down and read Doctor Sleep. It's definitely on the top of my list, but just to see how it goes, because I know how the Kubricks and how they differentiate. So I'd like to how the difference between writers and stuff.
Talking about Stephen King, The Shining release, commemorating that anniversary, but all the things he's worked on. I've tried to read Stephen King books. Just kind of shows how Neanderthal we all are, but I haven't actually made it through one. I remember the first one was the Tommyknockers, and I just kind of figured these are a bunch of short little dudes in like a robe that knock on the door or something, because I'd seen Stephen King's Cat's Eye, that trilogy, which I love that, the cat and the little troll guy with the sword fighting and stuff. I love that movie. So I was thinking the Tommyknockers would just be, oh, that little gremlin dude was a Tommyknocker. Now there's going to be an army of it, like the Gate or something. And when there wasn't monsters in like the first part of the movie, I'm like, or the first part of the book, I'm like, I don't care about Catherine and Rebecca. I just don't. I don't care about them. I know what they're here for. Let's get to it, But that's just me. But Cody, one of the things that we're talking Stephen King, The Shining. You point out the movie, which was amazing when it came out. Jack Nicholson, who was already a star, really just cemented the guy you don't want to mess with when he gives you an eyebrow lift. But what the story of The Shining, the setup, Doctor Sleep. What did you think the first time you remember seeing The Shining or reading it or taking it in?
You know what the crazy thing is? The first time I ever watched it was just like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Didn't we watch it together?
Didn't we watch it together?
It's Doctor Adam.
Don't sleep.
Don't sleep.
We watched one.
We watched one of them.
It was creepy. I mean, it was really, well done that in that hotel, and with the two girls, and it was Jack Nicholson, of course, nailed. Just killed it. But I need to watch it again because I only seen it once. So I need to revisit it and go back and watch it again.
Joel, say something.
And then there were always. Oh, go ahead.
That I was just mentioning there. It's hard to. I know what I've read of The Shining. I know Kubrick's changed so much that Stephen King did, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've saw, Stephen King wasn't necessarily thrilled with Kubrick's change with the movie, but because it is so different. I mean, when I say I've not read the book, I've listened to the book on tape of the original Shining, by Stephen King, and watched the movie several times, because there's so many things that the labyrinth coming to life, and the spoilers, the hotel burning down in the first movie. I think when they made the second movie, it was a good. Stephen appreciated it because it was more of a collaboration of combining his book to what should have actually happened. Like I said, spoilers alert. The hotel being burned down. It was that's why I've always wanted to go back and read Doctor Sleep, because it was the one time that I know Stephen King he actually said, "Hey, seal of approval on Doctor Sleep the movie." And I've always liked what's the guy that played Obi-Wan Kenobi? The played the main guy there.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I think he did a great job in the movie. But like Cody said, I mean, my God, you can't. Jack Nicholson and the way that was, and I even liked the guy that played Elliot in E.T. He did a halfway decent job in Doctor Sleep. If you had to actually get Jack Nicholson back into character, he did a good job in that. But yeah, like I said, that's a good movie. That really is the original. It's the way that is.
One of the things as we're kind of wrapping up with the Stephen King topic and calling it a show, but he was rumored in the past to have an idea for a Jason movie and figuring out the Jason backstory, and he's kind of got all that stuff going. I mean, if everyone's out there, wouldn't it be smart to, if Stephen King wanted to do it, throw an ass ton of money to get him to work on something to really kind of fix some things, canonly speaking? Cody, what do you think?
I heard that rumor too, and I like that. I think I'd like to see his twist on it. I think that'd be pretty cool, like especially going back to the backstory. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be a good idea.
Adam, what about you?
I would. I'd like to see that. It would definitely be an interesting spin, because I feel like Friday the 13th and Stephen King, I feel like even though they're both horror, they're both different type of stories, and I would definitely be interested to see what Stephen could spin on that series. It would be interesting to see. Definitely be something I'd be interested in.
I think that the two of them together have the potential, because Friday the 13th is a quintessential ghost story. I think Friday the 13th, the best way to sum it up is part two, when they explain everything. And that scene in part two, and the way they lead on that, and in the sequels, the kind of the cut scene before the movie starts. It's a ghost story around a campfire, and if Stephen King wants to, put his fingerprints on it, I think that could go in some interesting places.
And Bill,
Well,
may I add just one thing there? Could you imagine? You think about Jason being that zombie type. Could you imagine the pet cemetery and the ghost like era? With it being, you know, Jason coming back as the quote unquote supernatural. Could you see Stephen doing what he could with the pet cemetery feel to it? What could come with that? I think it'd be an interesting genre. I'd like to see what he could do with it. It would be interesting.
I think it's something that the idea of putting characters in different universes, so to speak, is, I think that's probably where we'll head. That instead of remakes and reboots, it's like, okay, we've made Spider-Man 6 times. Now, Spider-Man, but shoots webs out of her hair. Switch it up, do a mashup, or
Right.
she has alien powers. But you just, you do a mashup, so it's Friday the 13th, but Jason's mom was a hotel innkeeper, and Jason's, you just cross genre, or cross mash up the different universes. But you plug Jason into the Stephen King universe, with all the lore, the devil and needful things, all the stuff he has. I mean that is an amusement park I would like for them to build outside of Las Vegas to visit. That would be a good time. Cody, what you got any closing thoughts as we thank Adam?
No, I'm just glad Adam was able to come on tonight, and we had a good conversation, and he did a job well done with the grind, putting it all together. And if it hadn't have been for him, the movie hadn't have gotten made. And thanks, man. You really did. You carried the film, and you really helped out a lot.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. That means a lot. You did a lot yourself. We buckled down, and between Clarence and Josh, we made it work. We just said we weren't going to. I wasn't going to let it fall. We weren't going to make it quit. We've got a good. I felt we had captured lightning in a bottle. We had something really great to show the world, and I was just excited to be a part of it. So, like I said, you did a great job, and I can't wait to show our community, our horror community, what we can do, and release our official trailer. And I think they'll enjoy it as much as we know they will. So, and Bill, thank you so much for having me, brother. Thank you so much for having us tonight. We really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this get together, and this has been a great time.
I told you you'd like it. I told you it wasn't a big deal. Adam, thanks so much. As we wrap up, signing off, of course, again with, if you come to me and you say, Sean Cunningham sandwich, we will put your name in the credits of Freddy versus Jason Dreamscape.
Okay.
For free. First person to do it. Present company excluded. But thank you so much for tuning into the Huskins Horror live stream. Follow us at Huskins_XIII. Of course, if you go to YouTube, you can just search youtube.com at Huskins Horror. That'll take you right there. We're also having the Twitter page roll out softly at Huskins Horror. We'll have updates there. And of course, you can always join the Freddy vs. Jason group on Facebook for regular updates. We're in the process of getting everything up and running, planning out dates to shoot the final scenes needed to finish Freddy vs. Jason Dreamscape. And we hope to have more updates coming soon. But Cody, thank you so much as you part your wisdom with your final thoughts and goodbyes. And I and Adam will be quiet.
Just thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Stay tuned for more awesome things to come. And we're going to nail it this year, 2023. We're going to do some great stuff.
Thanks so much, guys. We are ending now. Have a good night.